Hi guys, welcome to Mountain of God. My name is Camille. Today is 26th of April 2020. Welcome to video number 6. As you can see, I'm just getting much more colorful. I can see what I did to my face. If you want to know what happened, watch previous video, number 5. I told this story, what's going on. But that being said, today I want to talk about a very important, very interesting subject because I want to talk about the transition period from being a teenager towards the adulthood. You see, this is a very important subject and you cannot just dismiss it or just, omit it on your way. And I understand that it might be something that you want to omit, because don't get me wrong, it's great to be able to do whatever you want and not take any responsibility or not to take any impact of your own decisions, be completely protected. I get it. But as it happens in natural life, in spiritual life, it's exactly the same thing. You just have to grow up sometime. And you see, this is something that many of us struggle, especially because no one even teaches us how to even deal with this from a spiritual level especially. So let me tell you how it looked in me and what are the three major points that I kind of see that happen in my life. And it looks like it happens in most of us. And I would like you to take this video and kind of use it as a kind of measuring stick. Where are you in the process, so you would know what is happening and what is going to happen, for you to take this transition or make this transition period as smooth as possible and as much enjoyable as possible. So listen, first thing that you want to understand is the moment that you are a child or early teenager, it's a great time because, as I said, you can do whatever you want and you grew up enough, you mature mentally enough, so you start to build your own world. As we said, this time is time of kind of destroying and rebuilding your life from grounds up. So you build your own belief system. You kind of start to see and understand who you are, what do you want, at least to some degree. And at the same time, you're completely protected and you're not taking any responsibility for the consequences or impact of your own decisions. And that's a blissful time to be. But there's a very narrow window of time when you can do both. But then in normal life, your parents at least supposed to push you towards, okay, we've got to grow up a little bit. And the same thing would happen in spiritual life. So the first thing that you will find that will happen is that you're going to be given more responsibilities. In normal life, maybe when you were a child or early teenager, someone else was taking care of you because your parents wanted to be sure that you're not going to do something stupid or something. But now maybe they'll ask you, okay, so maybe you'll take care of your younger siblings. Maybe now they're going to give you a responsibility for you to do a groceries or do something much more involving you, because that's the whole point of you of teaching you how to become more adult, because you want to spend the proper amount of time of understanding how adult would look like and to get as much experience in it when you be going towards that. And some of the things going to be natural. So some of those things you would want to happen, and you've been waiting for this to happen. Like now your parents will allow you to go use public transportation to go to school. Now you're mature enough to to go to the cinema with your friends or spend night at your friends. This kind of stuff that you probably couldn't do when you were a child. But you see, the same thing going to happen in your spiritual life. There are going to be things that you would like to do. Maybe you always wanted to join the worship team. Maybe you always wanted to help the sound guy. Or something like this. Something is going to be like connected to other people, to the church or something. Some of the things going to be like something that you're going to be holding inside. Maybe some of you would want to start praying and seeing results of your own prayers towards others. So it's going to be like a very, very beginning of intercession. And in your relationship with God will tell you much more about this, about that. He'll kind of build your own understanding about the spiritual world that you're living in and your role in it to some degree. And he will tell you much more about it. So that's going to be the first thing that will happen. He will tell you more. He will kind of push you towards experiencing more. He'll push you towards experiencing and kind of joining people or doing things which are natural to you, kind of in parallel with your talents or with who you are. So that's the first thing. It may be the easiest one from these three. But second thing, there'll be a moment he'll basically push you for you to start making decisions. And that might be something strange because the moment you stop being a child and someone is pushing you to make your own decisions, it's scary at the beginning. And I'll tell you the story how it happened to me and how I understood this whole thing. You see, I told you already that there was a time when I was really crushed in my life. And it doesn't really matter what was it. I don't want to use this as like a private coaching session because that's not really why I'm doing this. But one thing that happened that I remember that it was like very, very tough time, which kind of pushed me towards spending much more time with him and kind of talking and kind of sharing whatever I needed because he was the person I know that he would listen. And amazingly enough, there was a moment in all of this situation when he basically stopped talking to me. He stopped answering my questions, which was surprising to me because it never happened before. And for the first few weeks of that, I kind of didn't know what happened. I tried to see, did I do something wrong? Did I'm living in sin or something that I cut the relationship with him or something, and I couldn't figure out what's going on, why it is as it is. And then one day it clicked. I entered my praying room and I told him, you're doing it on purpose, right? That's your conscious decision that you stopped talking to me, that you stopped replying. And I knew that he smiled in that moment. And then he started saying, yeah, exactly. Because you see, I want you to make a call on your own. And he basically said, you see, the whole point of me leading you and teaching you how to be more mature is to get you to the point that you will be mature enough that you'll be able to make a decision, to know what you want and follow that, to see what's possible and what are you capable of invest into or what you're capable to sacrifice to achieve what you want. And this, even though this was one of the toughest moments in my life, he said, you're ready to make a decision and you're ready not only to make a call, but understand why you will make this call and you will do it this way. And I was fascinated because that was the moment of like really geometric growth, because that pushed me, years ahead. And interestingly enough, from that moment in time when I understood what was the reason for it, then that there was so much more decision, but I was so much more at ease with him not replying to my questions, and I just stopped asking questions for some time in most of the instances, because I knew that he was there, he was watching, he was observing me, but I knew that basically what he was trying to say again and again by his silence, you can do this. I taught you enough so you'll be able to make a right call. And the best thing about this second level is that he will allow you to make a call, but even though he'll protect you, he'll be there, he'll watch, he will do everything so you would feel secure that you can make a call even though it might be scary. And again, he'll protect you from everything. He'll be there to kind of assist you in all of this. So that was the experience that taught me that. And and since then, that was one of the major steps in my spiritual life. And maybe if you're in this kind of situation, I want you to hear that, because maybe that's the same moment. Just go and ask him. Maybe that's the same lesson you're going through. Sorry. But then there's a step number 3, which is even more scary. Because this is the time when he's pushing you even farther to make your own calls. But now he's retracting with protecting you from the impact of them. Now it's getting scary, because not only he's teaching you how to make a right call, but also he'll teach you how to make a call based on your ability to foresee what would be the consequence of it. What would be the consequence for you? And even more, what would be the consequence for other people that might be included or might be kind of affected by the decision that you'll make. And that's the moment, that's the steps that he will use to really make you aware. What do you really want? Where do you want to go with this? Would that be a good decision? Is that a good time to make this decision? What would be the impact? Am I able to, am I able to deal with the consequences? Am I able to pay if something would go wrong? All of these things. And if you see the parallels in your own life, because it all depends where you as a human being, because I went through that when I was teenager, so it was like in parallel with my natural life. But maybe you're 50, you are young Christian, and you're going through all of this, and it's like feeling crazy because you feel like a child, even though you're a mature person in your life. But you see, that's the whole point. The spiritual world is completely different sphere, different rules, different things, even though many things are in parallel just to make it easier for us. But I want you to understand that he will not stop. He'll push you towards going farther and farther, because as we said yesterday, everything in him is about your progress, about pushing you and making you more and more adult and more mature in the way you think and the way you act. And you see, I'm telling you this because in a contrary to this progress that we're talking about, I've seen so many Christians that are making 2 major mistakes. And I'm mentioning that not to bash anyone, but just to underline the situation that you might find yourself in, that might lead you to losing all this amazing experience which is growing up in him and becoming an adult Christian. First group of Christians that I met is basically making one major mistake. They're waiting for the so-called will of God to happen. And when something's happening or they're waiting for something, and you ask, okay, so, but what do you want? I want the will of God. Okay, I get it, but what do you want to happen? It's like, what are you expecting to happen? No, I'm going to wait for the will of God. I say, okay, I get it. It's going to happen. He's going to do what he wants anyway, but what do you want? And many of those questions are not even able to answer you, because they're kids that push responsibility for everything on the so-called will of God, and no matter what happens, whether the thing that's going to happen is going to be exactly what they wanted or completely against it, they're afraid to even open their mouths and say what they want, because everything has to be, as will of God. This is a very, very, very terrible state to be in, because you use every excuse in a book not to make a choice, not to take the responsibility. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Everything will have to be according to the will of God, and it will happen. But you see, that's the whole point of becoming mature. That's the whole point of helping you grow up. Because if you've got a relationship so close to him, you're going to make a call, you're going to make a decision, you're going to have an idea. Trust me, if you're going to make a right call, everything is going to be fine, he's going to smile. If you're going to have a bad idea or make a bad call, he will tell you. That's why you have been in a relationship with him, so he could correct you right there on the spot. So don't be afraid of going outside of the will of God, because he's there for you to help you understand what he wants. And the more and more, that's why he will become mature, and that's how he's teaching you. So it would be this mirroring of his own glory, mirroring of his own character, because that's what he trains you in. So you would think like him, feel like him, and be like him. So then he would not have to tell you every time what you're supposed to do, so you could become an adult. so he could make a decision exactly as he would. And second thing that I can see many Christians do, and I had this at least few conversations like this. It was scary to be part of. When you meet someone that you had a relationship like 15, 20, 30 years ago, and you can see them after, let's say, 20 years. That's my age gap, And you meet people and you can see that they're exactly at the same spot that they were 20 years ago. They're dealing with the same issues, they're dealing with the same, they're struggling with the same things, and they are not able to move out and kind of over understand and just basically go to the next lesson. And it's horrible to see, because they're struggling with things that you were dealing with 20 years ago. You moved on and they didn't. And now, even though you are adult people, you can see that they're a complete child in their spiritual growth. And it's terrible to watch, because not only they wasted 20 years of their life, but also they're useless. Meaning that they're kids that need to be fed with milk. Whether there's they're supposed to be teachers and supposed to be able to help others to be fed with milk. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I see this chapter as a very important subject in this whole progress, becoming from a child to teenager, from teenager to adulthood, because this is the time that many of us are missing, and it shouldn't be this way. So then, this is what I want you to take from this video. Your dad exactly knows where will be the time to kind of push you, not even ask, but just push you towards making the next level. He was going to do it delicately, especially at the beginning, but trust me, he will do it. He will push you towards getting more responsibilities, then making your own calls, then like really learning how to foresee the future, see the consequence, and making the really right call in much more and more important the situations or decisions. But the whole idea is that he wants you to make out of you an adult Christian, an adult human, so you will be able to take the responsibilities, and not only to secure yourself, to help yourself, to make yourself happy or yourself secure, but so you would be able to change from child that has to be taken care of to become a mentor, a teacher, a leader that will be able to take care of someone else. And you would be now the person who will be able to help others to grow up so they can do the same thing. So think about it and do something about it. Because the amazing journey of becoming an adult and becoming kind of a partner in whatever your dad wants to do on this planet, and being able to allow you or give you permission to enter your calling when you'll be really when you'll understand what fulfillment really means. This starts with you allowing him to transform you from a teenager to adult. If you like this video, like, share, comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, give me a shout, DM me, and I'll be glad to talk about it for you. That being said, see you in the next video.